Commander James Walker floated in silence, his breath fogging the inside of his helmet as he stared at the impossible sight before him. The old warship hung motionless among the asteroids, its dark hull reflecting little of the distant starlight. "Sir, you need to see this," his second-in-command said through the comlink, breaking the silence. Walker pushed himself forward, magnetic boots clicking as they reconnected with the deck of their small salvage vessel. "I'm looking at it, Tom. I just can't believe it. According to every military record, the CSS Phantom, a prototype stealth destroyer, had been destroyed 50 years ago during the early battles of the Galactic War. Yet here it floated, seemingly intact but abandoned, its hull scarred but remarkably preserved in the vacuum of space. Scans show minimal power readings," reported Lisa, their tech specialist. Her fingers moved quickly across the glowing control panel. "Life support is offline, but there's still emergency power in some sections." Walker nodded. "Any signs of the crew?" "No life signs detected," Lisa answered, her voice flat. "If anyone survived whatever happened here, they're long gone now." Their salvage team had been tasked with investigating the derelict after automated mining drones detected its energy signature. Humanity was losing the war against the Vex Dominion, an expansionist alien empire with superior numbers and technology. Every resource counted now, especially military hardware that could be reused. "Prepare boarding equipment," Walker ordered. "Tom, Lisa, you're with me. Davis, keep the engines hot and ready for a quick exit if needed." Davis, their pilot, gave a thumbs up from his chair. "Yes, sir. Be careful in there. Ghost ships give me the creeps." "It's not a ghost ship," Walker said firmly. "Just an old wreck someone forgot to clean up." But as their small shuttle approached the Phantom's main airlock, Walker couldn't shake the feeling that he was wrong. Something about the ship's presence felt wrong. Like finding a grave that had been disturbed. The airlock cycled with surprising ease, considering how long the ship had been abandoned. Walker led the way, flashlight cutting through the darkness of the main corridor. "Emergency lighting still works," Tom said with surprise as dim blue lights flickered to life along the floor, responding to their movement. "The AI power management system must still be operational at a basic level," Lisa said, checking her scanner. "Amazing engineering to last this long." They moved deeper into the ship, passing through crew quarters that looked as if they had been left in a hurry. Personal items still remained in some rooms: photographs, books, small tokens from Earth and the colonies. In one room, a chess game sat unfinished, two kings facing off with only a few pieces remaining on the board. Where did they all go? Tom wondered aloud, picking up a tarnished silver watch from a bedside table. Walker shook his head. "Let's check the bridge. Maybe the ship's logs can tell us." The bridge was in better condition than expected. When Lisa connected her equipment to the main console, several screens flickered to life, bathing the dark room in a pale glow. "Most systems are in standby mode," she reported. "I can access the ship's logs, but many files are damaged or encrypted." "Show me what you can get," Walker ordered, moving to stand behind her. The captain's final log appeared on screen, the image distorted and broken in places. "Day 457 since deployment. We've sustained critical damage in the ambush at Proxima Station. Half the crew is gone. The phase shift drive overloaded during our escape, but Chief Engineer Mills believes he can stabilize it for one more jump. The Vex think they've destroyed us. Let them believe that. We will become the ghost that haunts them across the stars. If anyone finds this ship after we're gone, she's yours now. Make them pay for what they've done to Earth. This is Captain Reynolds, signing off." The log ended, leaving them in silence. "Phase shift drive?" Tom asked. "I've never heard of that technology." Lisa's eyes widened. It was theoretical, a propulsion system that could partially shift matter into another dimension. But it never went beyond the planning stages. "Apparently it did," Walker said, moving toward the captain's chair. "And this ship had it." As he touched the main control panel, The lights on the bridge suddenly brightened. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room, flickering and unstable. "Authentication required," announced a mechanical voice, distorted by decades of disuse. "Identify yourself or defensive measures will be activated." Walker hesitated, then straightened his back. "Commander James Walker, Earth Defense Fleet, ID 47,291A. There was a long pause. Then, Earth Defense Fleet recognized. "Processing authorization. Acceptable substitute for command chain. Access granted to limited systems." The hologram stabilized, forming into the shape of a ship, the Phantom, with highlighted sections showing damage and functioning systems. "Welcome aboard the CSS Phantom, Commander," the ship's AI continued. "I am ARIA, Advanced Reconnaissance Intelligence Assistant. My systems are operating at 43% capacity. Experimental weapon systems intact. Main phase shift drive damaged but functional. Awaiting orders." Walker exchanged stunned looks with his team. "ARIA," he said slowly, "what happened to the original crew?" The hologram flickered. Captain Reynolds and remaining crew members utilized emergency phase shift protocols following critical battle damage. Escape pods were launched during dimensional transition. Crew fate unknown. High probability of dimensional displacement. "They're gone," Lisa whispered. "Trapped between dimensions or scattered across space." Walker felt a chill run down his spine. He looked around at the ghost ship that had come back from the dead. A relic from the early days of a war humanity was now losing. "ARIA, can this ship still fight?" he asked. The hologram pulsed brighter. "Affirmative, Commander. The Phantom was designed to wage war from the shadows. Primary weapon systems require minimal repair. Phase shift capability at 22% efficiency, sufficient for short tactical jumps." Walker made his decision. "Lisa, download everything you can about this ship's systems. Tom, do a quick inventory of supplies and weapons. I need to contact Proxima Station." "Sir." Tom looked confused. "About the salvage." Walker shook his head, a grim smile forming on his face. "Not about salvage. About recommissioning. The war just changed, people. The Vex think they have us beaten, but they've never fought a ghost before." As his team hurried to their tasks, Walker looked out through the bridge viewport at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, the Vex Dominion continued its push toward the last human colonies. They had no idea what was about to hit them. The ghost warship that shouldn't exist was about to return to the battlefield. Absolutely not. Admiral Thompson slammed his fist on the table, making the digital displays jump. "That relic is 50 years outdated. It's a museum piece, not a weapon." Commander Walker stood his ground in the crowded war room of Proxima Station. Around them, officers moved quickly between stations, tracking the advancing Vex fleet on the large holographic display that dominated the center of the room. "Sir, with all due respect, the Phantom has technology we've never seen before," Walker argued. "The phase shift drive alone could change everything." "Phase shift technology was abandoned decades ago," Thompson countered. "Too unstable. Too dangerous. We lost 3 research teams trying to make it work. Yet here it is, working," Walker said. He activated his tablet, showing the scans Lisa had taken from the Phantom. The ship survived its supposed destruction because it partially existed outside our dimension. That's why no one found it for 50 years. Thompson frowned, but Walker could see the flicker of interest in his eyes. Humanity needed something, anything, to turn the tide. Earth had fallen 6 months ago. The colonies were being picked off one by one. Proxima Station was among the last major military outposts still standing. "I'll have our engineers look at the data," Thompson finally said. "But I'm not risking resources on false hope, Walker." Dismissed. Walker left the war room, frustration evident in his quick steps. In the corridor, he found Tom and Lisa waiting for him. "No luck?" Tom asked, falling into step beside him. They'll study it to death while the Vex finish us off, Walker said. We need to move faster. There's someone you should meet, Lisa said quietly. Dr. Emily Reeves. She's the station's chief engineer, and she's been working on stealth technology for years. I showed her some of our scans. She's excited. Dr. Reeves didn't look excited. She looked scared. Her hands trembled slightly as she examined the data on her lab screens. The engineering bay was quiet this late in the station's night cycle, giving them privacy. This shouldn't be possible, she whispered, zooming in on the scan of the phase shift drive. We theorized about this, but the power requirements alone should have. But it works, Walker pressed. The question is, can we get it fully operational again? Reeves pushed her dark hair away from her face, thinking, maybe. The principles are sound, just far ahead of what we thought possible 50 years ago. She looked up at Walker. I need to see it. The real thing, not just scans. Admiral Thompson isn't giving permission anytime soon, Tom pointed out. Walker made his decision. We don't need permission to continue salvage operations. Our team is already assigned to the recovery. We'll take Dr. Reeves back with us to do a thorough assessment of the ship's value. Lisa looked worried. That's bending the rules pretty far, Commander. The Vex don't play by rules, Walker replied. Neither should we. The Phantom waited for them in the asteroid field, exactly as they had left it. As their shuttle docked, Walker noticed new energy readings from the ship. RIA has been busy, he noted. More systems are online than before. Inside, the ghost ship was no longer dark. Emergency lighting had given way to standard illumination in the main corridors. The bridge was fully powered when they arrived. ARI's hologram floating above the central console. Welcome back, Commander Walker, the AI greeted them. I have completed basic system diagnostics and initiated repair protocols using maintenance drones. Dr. Reeves stared at the hologram, then at the bridge around them. This is incredible, she breathed. The computing power alone is beyond what we use now. And you're saying this is 50 years old. 53 years, 2 months, and 17 days since commission. Araya corrected. The Phantom was built using experimental technology that was classified beyond top secret. Only 3 such vessels were planned. I have no records of the others being completed. Reeves moved to the engineering station, fingers flying over the controls. Show me the phase shift drive specifications. Schematics appeared on the screen. Reeves studied them, her expression growing more amazed by the minute. It doesn't just bend light like our current stealth systems, she explained to the others. It partially shifts the ship out of normal spacetime. The Phantom isn't just invisible. Parts of it literally don't exist in our dimension when the system is active. Can you fix it? Walker asked. Reeves hesitated. It's damaged, but the core technology is intact. With ARIA's help, yes, I think so. But we're talking about bending the fabric of reality here. One mistake, and we could end up scattered across dimensions. Or we could have the one weapon the Vex would never expect, Walker said. How long? 3 days, maybe 4, Reeves estimated. Some components will need to be fabricated. Walker nodded. Make a list. Tom and I will get what you need from the station. Station alert. Station alert. The announcement blared through their comms devices. All personnel to battle stations. Vex fleet detected approaching Proxima. This is not a drill. They stared at each other in shock. The Vex weren't supposed to reach Proxima for another week. Araya, what's the status of the Phantom's weapon systems? Walker demanded. Main rail guns at 62% capacity. Missile bays operational but empty. Point defense systems functional. Engines at 78% efficiency. Phase shift drive currently offline. Walker made a quick decision. Dr. Reeves, how fast can you get the main engines online for conventional travel? 20 minutes, maybe less with Araya's help. Do it, Walker ordered. Lisa, contact Davis. Tell him to get our salvage ship back to the station. We're taking the Phantom. Sir, Tom looked concerned. We're stealing the ship. Not stealing. Recommissioning. Walker moved to the captain's chair. Area. Transfer command protocols to me. Authorization. Walker, James, Commander, Earth Defense Fleet. Command transfer complete. Area confirmed. Awaiting orders, Captain. On the main viewer, they could see distant flashes as the first Vex ships engaged Proxima's outer defenses. The station wouldn't hold for long against a full attack force. Tom, find us a crew, Walker said. Anyone from the salvage team who wants to volunteer. We need people at critical stations. What's the plan? Lissa asked, already working to configure the communications array. Walker's expression hardened. We're going to remind the Vex why they should fear ghosts. Admiral Thompson was in the middle of organizing the station's defense when the emergency channel lit up. Unidentified ship. This is Proxima Control. You are launching without clearance. Return to dock immediately, or you will be fired upon. Proxima Control. This is Commander Walker aboard the CSS Phantom. We are moving to engage the enemy. Thompson grabbed the comm. Walker, what the hell are you doing? That ship is untested. Stand down immediately. No time, Admiral. Walker's voice came back. You wanted proof the Phantom works. Watch closely. On the tactical display, Thompson watched as the old warship moved from its dock, thrusters firing as it accelerated toward the incoming Vex fleet. All hands, Walker's voice echoed on the bridge of the Phantom as Dr. Reeves made final adjustments to the drive controls. Prepare for phase shift. Reeves looked up, fear and determination in her eyes. Drive at minimal capacity. We can hold phase for 2 minutes, maybe 3. After that, we'll need to recharge or risk a complete collapse. Walker nodded. 2 minutes will be enough for the first strike. Area. Target the lead Vex ship. All weapons ready. Target locked. Area confirmed. Execute phase shift, Walker ordered. Let's show them what a ghost can do. The bridge lights dimmed as power diverted to the phase shift drive. A strange sensation washed over the crew, like being stretched thin across space. Through the viewports, the stars seemed to blur and shift. The CSS Phantom, a warship that shouldn't exist, vanished from normal space, and the battle for humanity's survival entered a new phase. The Phantom vanished from normal space as the phase shift drive activated. On the bridge, the crew felt a strange sensation, like being pulled in multiple directions at once. The lights dimmed to an eerie blue glow, and the view outside the ship changed. Stars became streaks of light, and solid objects appeared partially transparent. Phase shift complete, Area announced. Currently existing at 67% in alternate dimension, 33% in normal space. Walker gripped the arms of the captain's chair, fighting a wave of nausea. Status report. All systems functioning, Lisa reported from the operations console, her voice shaky. But this feels wrong. You get used to it, said a new voice. A man in his 30s had appeared on the bridge, wearing an old Earth Defense Fleet uniform. His body flickered slightly, like a bad hologram. Area, who is this? Walker demanded. This is my secondary interface, modeled after Lieutenant Marcus Torres, the Phantom's original weapons officer, Area explained. I've activated it to assist with combat operations. The Torres hologram nodded. The phase state can be disorienting for new crews. Focus on your instruments, not the view outside. What you're seeing is a blend of 2 dimensions. Dr. Reeves looked up from the engineering station. Fascinating. The phase shift creates a state where we can perceive normal space, but cannot fully interact with it. More importantly, Torres added, they cannot fully interact with us. We can see them, but they cannot see us. Walker leaned forward. Can we fire weapons in this state? Affirmative. Torres said with a grim smile. Our weapons are specially designed to transition from phase space to normal space upon firing. The enemy will only detect them at the moment of impact. Perfect. Walker turned to the tactical display. The Vex fleet was arranged in their standard attack formation, 3 heavy cruisers protected by smaller escort vessels. They were pounding Proxima Station's outer defenses with energy weapons. "Target the lead cruiser," Walker ordered. "Main rail guns. Target locked." Torres confirmed. "Firing solution ready." "Fire." The Phantom shuddered as the rail guns launched their projectiles. On the screen, they watched as the superheated metal slugs seemed to appear out of nowhere in normal space, slamming into the Vex cruiser's hull. The alien ship had no time to raise shields. Explosions rippled along its side. "Direct hit," Torres reported. "Enemy vessels sustaining critical damage." The Vex ships responded immediately, energy weapons firing wildly into empty space. Their beams passed harmlessly through areas near the Phantom, missing their target completely. "They don't know where we are," Tom said with wonder from the navigation console. "Reload and target their second cruiser," Walker ordered. "Area, move us to coordinates 227 Mark 43. The Phantom glided through space like the ghost it was named after, completely invisible to Vex sensors. The second volley struck the next Vex cruiser with the same devastating effect. On Proxima Station's command deck, Admiral Thompson watched in disbelief as Vex ships were being destroyed by what appeared to be weapons fire from empty space. "What am I looking at?" he demanded. "Unknown, sir," his tactical officer replied. "Sensors detect weapons impacts, but no attacking vessel." Thompson's eyes widened as he realized what was happening. "It's the Phantom. Walker actually got that damned ghost ship to work." Back on the Phantom, the crew watched as their third volley crippled another Vex vessel. 6 enemy ships had been seriously damaged or destroyed, and the rest were in disarray, firing blindly into space. Suddenly, warning lights flashed across the bridge consoles. "Phase shift drive is overheating," Dr. Reeds reported, her fingers moving frantically over the controls. "Power fluctuations in the main matrix." "How long can we maintain phase?" Walker asked. 1 minute, maybe less," Reeds answered. "After that, we'll need to return to normal space or risk a catastrophic failure." Walker considered their options. "Target their command ship, all remaining weapons, then prepare to drop out of phase behind Proxima's moon." The Phantom fired everything it had at the Vex command vessel. Rail guns, missile batteries, and point defense lasers all converged on the alien ship. Its shields flared and died under the assault, and secondary explosions tore through its hull. "Phase shift drive critical," Reeves shouted. "We need to drop out now." "Do it," Walker ordered. The strange sensation returned as the Phantom shifted back to normal space. The blue lighting returned to standard, and the view outside cleared. They had emerged behind Proxima's moon, out of sight of the remaining Vex ships. "Drive status?" Walker asked. "Cooling down," Reeves reported, wiping sweat from her forehead. "The system wasn't designed for extended use. We can't phase shift again for at least 2 hours." "It was enough," Tom said, checking the tactical display. "The Vex fleet is pulling back. They're regrouping at the edge of the system." "They're scared," Torres said, his holographic form flickering. "For the first time in this war, the Vex are running away." Walker's comm channel activated. "CS Phantom, this is Admiral Thompson. What's your status?" "Operational but requiring cooldown, sir," Walker replied. "The phase shift drive needs time to stabilize." There was a long pause before Thompson spoke again. "Whatever you did out there, Walker, it worked. The Vex are retreating. Report back to Proxima when you're able. And good work, Captain." Walker looked around at his exhausted but triumphant crew. "Thank you, Admiral. We'll be home soon." As the Phantom moved out from behind the moon, the full view of the battlefield became clear. Debris from destroyed Vex ships floated in space. Proxima Station had taken damage but remained intact, and in the distance, the remaining Vex vessels were jumping to faster-than-light speed, leaving the system I've analyzed the Vex communication frequencies, Lisa reported. They're sending warnings to their fleet. Listen to this. She activated the speakers. A translation of the Vex language played on the bridge. Retreat immediately. Humans have deployed unknown weapon technology. Invisible attacker. Phantom vessel. Cannot defend. Walker couldn't help but smile. Phantom vessel. They named us well. Dr. Reeves looked up from her console with concern. The phase shift drive sustained more damage than I thought. We've pushed experimental technology beyond its limits. Can you fix it? Walker asked. Yes, but I'll need resources, proper facilities. She gestured to the engineering display. This technology is revolutionary, but it's also dangerous. One mistake, and we could end up trapped between dimensions forever. Walker nodded. We'll get you what you need. He turned to face the main viewer, watching as Proxima Station grew larger in their approach. Today was just the beginning. The Vex thought they had us beaten, but now they'll be looking over their shoulders. Torres finished, his holographic face serious, waiting for the ghost to strike again. The CSS Phantom, the warship that shouldn't exist, had just changed the course of the war. Word of the ghost warship spread quickly through the remaining human colonies and military outposts. Though officially denied by Earth Defense Fleet Command, stories of the impossible victory at Proxima Station gave people something they hadn't felt in years: hope. In the 2 weeks since that first battle, the CSS Phantom had been moved to a secure dock deep within Proxima Station. Engineers and scientists worked around the clock to study its technology and repair the damaged phase shift drive. Commander Walker, now officially promoted to captain, stood in the newly established Situation Room adjacent to the Phantom's dock. Admiral Thompson and several high-ranking officers were gathered around a holographic display showing the latest Vex fleet movements. They're being cautious, Thompson observed. Smaller attack groups, more scouts. They're looking for us. For the Phantom, specifically, Walker corrected. They don't know if we have 1 ghost ship or 100. Dr. Reeves entered the room, looking tired but excited. The phase shift drive is back to 84% efficiency, she announced. And I think I've solved the overheating problem. How? Thompson asked. By linking the drive to the ship's AI core, Reeves explained. ARIA can make micro-adjustments to the phase state thousands of times per second, keeping the system balanced. It's not perfect, but we should be able to maintain phase for up to 15 minutes now instead of just 3. Walker nodded. 15 minutes is enough time to do serious damage. Thompson turned to the other officers. Opinions. Colonel Harris, commander of Proxima's fighter squadrons, spoke first. The Phantom gives us an advantage we desperately need, but it's just 1 ship. The Vex still outnumber us 100 to 1. 1 ghost is all we need to haunt them, Walker said. We hit them fast, then disappear before they can respond. ARIA, and I have been developing new tactics we're calling Ghost Protocol. He activated the main display, showing battle simulations. The key is unpredictability. We never attack the same way twice. Sometimes we strike military targets, sometimes supply lines. We appear, cause chaos, and vanish. A guerrilla war in space, Thompson mused. It could work, at least until the Vex develop countermeasures. They're already trying, Reeves said. Our intelligence reports show they're deploying new scanner technology on their ships. They call them Phantom Hunters. Walker wasn't surprised. The Vex were known for their adaptability. Their entire military doctrine was based on overwhelming force and predictive algorithms. The Phantom had thrown those algorithms into chaos. Then we need to make our moves count, he said. And we need a larger crew. The volunteers from the salvage team have done well, but they're not trained for extended combat operations. Thompson nodded. I'll put out a call for volunteers from across the fleet, but keep it quiet. Officially, the Phantom still doesn't exist. Over the next month, the Phantom's crew grew as experienced officers and specialists volunteered for the high-risk assignment. The ship's legend grew with each successful mission, striking Vex supply convoys, destroying communication relays, and even rescuing human prisoners from a Vex processing center. Each time, they returned to Proxima Station with minimal damage, refining their tactics and pushing the phase shift technology to its limits. Dr. Reeves worked closely with ARIA to improve the system, making it more stable with each upgrade. Lieutenant Marcus Torres, ARIA's holographic interface, became an essential part of the crew. His knowledge of the Phantom's original systems proved invaluable, and many of the crew had started treating him as a real person despite knowing he was just an AI projection. "They're adapting faster than expected," Torres told Walker during a tactical meeting in the captain's quarters. The hologram pointed to sensor data from their last mission. "These energy signatures show their Phantom hunters are getting closer to detecting our phase signature." Walker frowned. "How much time do we have before they can track us?" "Hard to say. Weeks, maybe months. The good news is they can only detect us when we're actively phase shifting. Then we need to make our attacks shorter and more precise," Walker decided. "No more extended engagements." Dr. Reeves, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "There's another option. I've been studying the phase shift technology more deeply. What if we could adjust the frequency of the shift? Move to a slightly different dimensional plane each time." "Is that possible?" Walker asked. "Theoretically," she said. "The original designers built the system with multiple frequency options, but they never had time to test them all before the ship was reported destroyed." "It's worth trying," Torres agreed. "The more unpredictable we are, the harder it will be for them to counter us." Walker nodded. "Make it happen. We have a mission to the Arcturus mining colony in 2 days. We'll test the new frequencies then." The Arcturus mission started smoothly. The Phantom phase shifted into the system undetected and moved toward the mining colony, which had been occupied by Vex forces 6 months earlier. Their goal was to destroy the refined fuel storage facilities, which supplied the Vex fleet in this sector. Walker stood on the bridge, watching as they approached their target. "Status of the new phase frequency." "Stable," Reeves reported from the engineering station. "We're operating at a slightly different dimensional variance than before. The Vex scanners shouldn't be able to detect us." "Shouldn't is not the same as won't," Tom mourned from the navigation console. "I'm picking up 3 Vex cruisers in orbit around Arcturus. One of them has the energy signature of a Phantom hunter." "Maintain course," Walker ordered. "We'll proceed as planned." They moved closer to the planet, phase shifted and invisible to normal sensors. The Phantom's weapons were primed and ready to fire on the fuel storage facilities below. "Target locked," Torres reported. "Ready to fire on your command." "Fire," Walker ordered. The Phantom's railguns launched their projectiles toward the planet's surface. As they watched the storage tanks explode in huge fireballs, warning alarms suddenly blared across the bridge. "Energy spike from the Phantom hunter," Lisa shouted. "They're firing directly at us." Before Walker could order evasive maneuvers, an energy beam struck the Phantom precisely as it adjusted its phase state. The ship shuddered violently, consoles exploding in showers of sparks. "Phase shift drive destabilizing." Reeves called out, fighting to control the damage. "We're fluctuating between dimensions." On the main viewer, Walker saw the Phantom becoming partially visible in normal space, then fading out again, like a light flickering on and off. "Get us out of here," he ordered. "Emergency jump to coordinates Alpha 7. Tom tried to engage the engines, but more alarms sounded. "Main propulsion offline. We're drifting." Walker made a quick decision. "Full power to emergency thrusters. Get us behind that moon." "Area. Initiate complete shutdown of the phase shift drive." As the crippled Phantom limped toward the small moon orbiting Arcturus, Walker knew they were in serious trouble. Stranded behind enemy lines with a critically damaged ship, their ghost might soon become truly spectral. "Phase shift drive offline," Area announced. "Ship stable in normal space." But they weren't safe yet. The Vex Phantom Hunter was already changing course, heading toward their position. "All hands," Walker called over the ship-wide comm. "Prepare for emergency landing. This is going to be rough." 3 months had passed since the CSS Phantom disappeared near Arcturus. Many believed the ghost ship had finally met its end, joining the long list of human vessels destroyed in the war. Admiral Thompson had ordered search parties, but with Vex forces controlling the area, they found nothing. At Proxima Station, hope faded with each passing day. Still nothing. Colonel Harris asked as he joined Thompson at the observation deck. Below them, engineers worked on conventional ships, preparing for what might be humanity's last stand. Thompson shook his head. "Nothing. It's been too long." Walker was resourceful, Harris said. "If anyone could survive behind enemy lines." An alarm cut him off. The station's sensors had detected multiple ships jumping into the system. "Vex fleet," the announcement blared. "Battle stations. This is not a drill." Thompson raced to the command center, watching as the tactical display showed enemy ships, at least 30 vessels, appearing at the edge of the system. "All defenses online," Harris ordered as he took his position. "Prepare for—" "Sir," the communications officer interrupted. "I'm picking up a transmission on an Earth Defense Fleet frequency." "Put it through," Thompson ordered, confused. A familiar voice filled the command center. "Proxima Station, this is Captain Walker of the CSS Phantom. Request immediate clearance to approach. We're coming in hot with company." Thompson couldn't believe it. "Walker, where the hell have you been? And what company?" "No time to explain, sir," Walker replied. "But you might want to prepare a welcome party for about 20 angry Vex ships." The tactical display updated, showing the Phantom emerging from faster-than-light travel, leading the entire Vex fleet directly into Proxima's defensive perimeter. "He's insane," Harris muttered. "He's bringing them right to us." Thompson wasn't so sure. Walker wouldn't risk the station without a plan. "Activate all defenses, but hold fire until my command." As the Phantom raced toward the station with the Vex fleet in pursuit, Walker's voice came through again. "Admiral, now would be a good time to activate those phase shift beacons Dr. Reeves sent you the plans for." Thompson blinked in surprise. "The what?" His chief engineer stepped forward. "Sir, we received technical data from the Phantom 2 weeks ago. Dr. Reeves included plans for small-scale phase shift devices. We've been manufacturing them, but deploy them now," Thompson ordered. Throughout the system, small devices previously placed in strategic positions activated. As the Vex ships passed through these areas, strange distortions appeared in space around them. 3 Vex cruisers were immediately torn apart as localized dimensional shifts ripped through their hulls. "It worked," Walker's excited voice announced. "The Phantom is docking now, sir. I believe we have some catching up to do." In the main conference room of Proxima Station, Walker stood before the assembled military leadership. His uniform was worn and patched, his face thinner than before, but his eyes burned with the same determination. Beside him, Dr. Reeves activated a holographic display showing technical schematics. The Torres hologram stood on Walker's other side, now able to project outside the Phantom thanks to upgrades made by Reeves. "When we were forced to land on that moon," Walker explained, "we thought we were finished. The Vex Phantom Hunter was closing in, and our phase shift drive was damaged beyond our ability to repair it with the tools we had. But then we discovered something," Reeves continued. "In a sealed compartment of the ship that ARIA had kept locked, on orders from the original captain. We found these." She gestured to the schematics. "Complete plans for mass-producing smaller versions of the phase technology." Torres's hologram nodded. "The Phantom was never meant to fight alone. It was designed to be the flagship of a Phantom fleet, vessels that could strike from beyond the veil of reality. We spent 3 months hiding, repairing what we could, and studying these plans," Walker said. We managed to build a few prototype devices from parts salvaged from the Phantom itself. That's how you escaped? Thompson asked. Walker smiled. We placed our homemade phase shift beacons around the Vex patrol ships. When activated, they created dimensional distortions that disabled their engines long enough for us to steal one of their faster-than-light communication buoys and send you the plans. And then you led them here, Harris said. Right into our trap. Exactly, Walker confirmed. The phase shift technology has been successfully replicated in smaller forms. Fighters, torpedoes, and even infantry armor. We can mass-produce these now. Thompson looked amazed. You're telling me we can outfit our entire remaining fleet with this technology? Not quite, Reeves cautioned. The power requirements are still significant. But we can create a squadron of phase-capable vessels, enough to take the fight back to the Vex. Thompson stood, decision made. Make it happen. Captain Walker will lead this new Phantom fleet. Colonel Harris, assign your best pilots for training on the new systems. Walker saluted. Thank yous, sir. 2 months later, humanity launched its first coordinated counterattack against the Vex. A squadron of 30 ships, retrofitted with phase shift technology, followed the Phantom into what became known as the Battle of the Seven Suns. Walker stood on the bridge of the Phantom, watching as his fleet dropped in and out of phase, striking Vex positions across 7 star systems simultaneously. The human vessels appeared and disappeared across the battlefield, striking with precision and vanishing before retaliation. The Vex are falling back in all sectors, Torres reported, his holographic form now permanently installed on the Phantom's bridge. Their tactics rely on predicting enemy movements. They can't fight what they can't see or predict. Phase shift drive functioning at optimal levels, Reeves reported from the engineering station. Her modifications had made the system more stable than ever. All fleet vessels reporting successful phase operations. The main viewer showed the massive Vex flagship, a structure that had terrorized human colonies for years, now surrounded by ghostly human warships that materialized simultaneously. Open a channel, Walker ordered. Lisa nodded. Channel open, Captain. Walker stood from his chair. Attention Vex command vessel. This is Captain James Walker of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your forces are surrounded, your tactical advantage neutralized. We offer you one chance to surrender. There was a long pause before the Vex responded. A series of electronic pulses that AI translated. They're asking how this is possible, Torres said with a grim smile. They want to know what we are. Walker nodded. Tell them this. You called us a dying species, but here's what you never understood. Humanity doesn't just survive. We adapt. We take what should destroy us and turn it into our salvation. Remember this day. Remember the ghosts you created. As the Vex flagship powered down its weapons in surrender, Walker looked around the Phantom's bridge, at the ship that shouldn't exist, but now ruled the battlefield, and gave the order to stand down weapons. The war wasn't over, but for the first time, humanity was no longer fighting for survival. They were fighting to win. In the darkness of space, the CSS Phantom led its spectral fleet home, a legend brought to life. The ghost warship that shouldn't exist had changed the course of history forever.